What's up, y'all? It's your host, Will, coming back for another episode of HuntStand Podcast. As most of y'all know, turkey season is pretty much done across most of the nation. There's a few states that, seasons will be over here pretty soon at the end of May, but we're going to start diving into a couple of different things. Getting ready for deer season, getting ready for elk season, getting ready for hunting in the fall in general. And that could be anything from getting your rifle set up properly, bow hunting tips, archery hunting tips and tactics, and summer scouting, trail cameras. There's a plethora of things that we're going to be covering this summer. But first, I've got a good friend of mine, Collin Cottrell of Texas, coming on to talk to us about a couple of different things that he has going on. And most recently, he has started his own brand. It's called High Caliber Hunts, and it's where he hosts these hunting trips with an impact. Whether you're a veteran hunter or you're brand new to hunting, he invites hunters of all walks to come on these hunts, and at the end of it, they come out a better person. So we're getting Collin to come on and talk about that, and then we're going to talk about something that's going on in our nation. That's there was a book recently written on this, but it's called The Comfort Crisis. And I'm not going to get into too much detail on this, but we're going to get in that with Collin, and we're going to go down a few rabbit holes. But nonetheless, we just want to thank Collin for hopping on the podcast with us today, and we hope you enjoy this episode of the HuntStand Podcast. Well, let's get this thing rolling, man. Well, Collin, first and foremost, appreciate you just coming on to the HuntStand Podcast, taking the time. I know you got a crazy schedule, so, man, welcome to the HuntStand Podcast.
Yeah, thanks a bunch, Will, man. I really appreciate the invite. Obviously, yeah, busy schedule, but it's I love doing these conversations, these podcast conversations. They're they're a little more in depth. You can hear a little bit more about somebody's story and really just have a really good conversation. So I enjoy these. I appreciate the opportunity, and it's been awesome getting to know you, man, over the last couple of years. So it's an honor.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, man, the thing that I love to do to get these podcasts started is I like for the guests to give us what I call the 30-foot tree stand view of who you are. Who you are, where you're from, and kind of give us a skinny on how you got into the industry.
Yeah, man, it's a long story. It's a long story, but I'll try to keep it short and sweet and to the point. First and foremost, I'm a husband, I'm a dad. I'm a business owner. Those are three things that really define me in my life. But yeah, man, kind of going back in time, I kind of broke into this industry. I was fortunate enough while I was going to college. My uncle started a supplement company with his best friend, and both of them were from my hometown. So it was kind of cool. Like, they knew I was gifted in the media marketing side of things. And this is 2006 when media marketing, social media, digital media, all that kind of stuff was really new and fresh. And there wasn't a lot of guys doing that. It was mostly younger guys like me. So I got this opportunity to, over my summer break to start working for that company, kind of on an internship basis and making some money too. It was really cool. And I started to realize, like, man, I can make a living in the hunting industry. I started connecting with all these guys in the industry, started realizing, like, man, there's a lot of business to be done here. Plus, I can be connected to the guys that I want to be connected with. At that time, I was a pretty fresh bow hunter. I'd only been bow hunting for probably 4 or 5 years. But I grew up in a hunting family. So I was like, man, I want to be around guys who are woodsmen, guys who are out there chasing their passion in the woods, the mountains, whatever. So kind of from there, the passion just kept pushing forward. I was pretty fortunate. I'm a pretty good connector. I started connecting with a lot of guys in the industry, going to trade shows, kind of doing the thing. And I built my marketing business around that. And then from there, I ended up kind of doing some other stuff in the industry, and which has led me kind of where I am today with High Caliber Hunts and kind of my new business venture I've launched over the last 8 months. So,
man, way to condense that. Like, you got a lot that you've done.
It's tough. It's tough, man. It's tough. There's a lot in there. I know, and I know you know that because we've had conversations before.
Yeah, yeah, man. And I mean, heck, I remember. I don't exactly remember how we met. I just remember it was at TAC about a year ago, and I think we just shot together, right?
So I think we first started connecting through Instagram.
Yes.
You were working with another company at that point, and we were just kind of connecting about that kind of stuff. I think we could both tell we were like minded. We're
Yep.
both here in Texas as
Yep.
well, so that was kind of cool. And then I saw you guys were shooting Chad Allen Jones, and some of you guys were going to be shooting together, and I needed a group of guys to shoot with, so I just kind of jumped in. You guys invited me to jump in, and
That's
from
right.
there we got to spend some time together, getting to know each other, and that was a lot of fun, man. I actually look back and I missed TAC this year here in San Antonio, but I was thinking back to last year when we did that, man. I just had so much fun. Those events are such a good time, you know.
They really are, man. They're a good time, great people, and it seems like, a lot of egos get left in the parking lot, and it's just a lot of like-minded people shooting bows and just having a good time. And not only that, it's a great place to network and get to know people and meet people.
Oh, 100%, man. And I think that's the key, the ticket to it, man. I know a lot of these guys in this our new school archery industry. The egos pushed aside. It's hey guys, let's help each other out. Let's help each other grow. Let's help each other become better bow hunters and just better in life. And I think that's what resonates with all of us. I know that resonates with me, and that's why I love being a bow hunter. I love being part of this industry in that sense.
Heck yeah, man. Well, one of the things I want to talk about is, I've followed you for quite some time now on social media, and I want to talk about your fitness journey, your journey of being a better human being, a better man, better father, better husband. And dude, I think when I first started following you, you were like day 50 into like this 365-day continuous workout time. And I'm like, holy crap, how is this guy doing this? And tell us about that, man. I just kind of want to dive into that, how just your journey and how it's evolved into high caliber hunts.
Yeah, man. And thanks for following along on that. It's kind of crazy to think back to last year and that journey. It really, I've always been a guy who was athletic. I played college football. I was pretty high level in high school sports, those kinds of things. I was always like, for some reason, I was always a go-getter, even though I didn't really have a lot of people around me pushing me hard. I had a couple coaches that really came alongside me. My high school football coach and my college football coach were both amazing men, still are amazing men, and really pushed me and kind of pushed my buttons a little bit to get me in gear.
Yeah.
But, excuse me, after college, I kind of like let it go to the wayside, and I was like, man, what? I started building my business, my marketing business. I didn't want to work out twice a day anymore. I didn't want to work out at all, and then you're just traveling, you're busy, you're going to trade shows, you're doing a lot of stuff. You're living your life in the 20s. You're having some fun too along the way. I won't lie about that.
Mm-hmm.
And you just get out of routine. And I wasn't really a routine guy for sure in my 20s. I didn't really have anything that I needed to, to really focus in on other than just having fun with my business and doing everything I was doing. So I really got out of this routine, the routine that you have in college, especially like playing college football. You have a routine you have to follow. You're eating certain foods. You're working out at certain times. You've got a brother, all these brothers you're doing stuff with. It's a really cool experience. And then I went from that to not having any of that, nothing to hold me back, and I just got out of it, man. So, kind of moving forward, I in 2000, what was it, 2015, 16.
Yeah.
I met my wife. We had our first child, and I wasn't in great shape. She's a workout fanatic, and she's always lovingly on me like, hey, you need to get back in shape. Like I've seen old photos of you and stuff, like you used to work out, not that I was like ripped up or anything like that, but I was always not in bad shape, and I took care of myself. And so she was urging me like, oh, let's get back in shape for our family, for our for our longevity as well. And I just kind of pushed it aside. I'm too busy for all that stuff. Like I don't care about it. So it's kind of funny. But moving forward, I was like, I had another child, and then I had my boy at the start of 2021.
Yeah.
And obviously 2020 was a tough year for all of us with everything, that happened there.
Yep.
And really I let myself go. I went from, probably, I usually was around like 230, 240 pounds. I'm a big guy, so I'm 6'3". I've got a little bit of mass on me. I wasn't really fat at that point. I was just a bigger guy. And, I got up to, man, I was like almost pushing 300 pounds. I was 290 pounds. I remember the last time I looked at the scale, and I was like, holy crap, I can't believe I let myself go this far. And I came to this realization when I was at, it was New Year's Day actually. And I was thinking, man, I've got a baby. My baby was due. I mean, it was about to happen. And, I knew I had to do something to kick myself in gear, get myself going, especially because I started to have these urges again to like be to continue my entrepreneur journey. I had built a few businesses through my 20s where I'd sold one of them and did really well with it. And my other one, I gave back to my business partner, sold back to my business partner.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had some pretty cool journeys through there on the business side. And I've always had this entrepreneurial spirit. So I was like, man, I've got some ideas for new businesses I want to start. I'm always trying new things. Like if I want to do these entrepreneurial things, I've got to be in tip top shape. I've got to be, I've got to be eating right. I've got to be getting up early, going, getting my sleep, those kinds of things. And I think there's just something inside of us as well as we get older and we mature. I'm in my 30s now, my mid 30s now. And it's like, if I want to be at my peak performance for my family, for the people around me, I need to go on a health journey. I need to change my lifestyle to something that's going to last for a long time. So that was kind of like the intro to me getting to this point where I finally said, I'm done with this way of living. I need to change my lifestyle. I need to get on a new path. So kind of from there, I'll unpack this a little bit for us, Will. Like I just knew, like, just being an athlete and stuff like that in the past, like I just knew I had to start slow. Like a lot of people will, try to add on 5-6 different things at one time. And before you know it, especially at the beginning of the year, it's kind of the cliche, like, hey, I'm new year, new me type thing. You know what I mean? So I was like, nah, I'm not going to be that guy. Like I want to make a lifestyle change that's going to last forever. So I kind of said, you know what, I'm just going to start with a couple simple goals, and I'm going to let those snowball forward and just add more things on as I start to feel better, as I start to get stronger, as I start to mentally get stronger, emotionally get stronger, those kinds of things. So I knew that was important for me to do. I read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of different self-improvement, stuff, podcasts, whatever.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of really cool people around me that are really leveling up in their own lives. And so I get to have their mentorship and their example all the time as well. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to start off with working out for 20 days a month, which would be roughly five days a week. I'm going to get a 1-hour workout, whether that's a run, a hike, a walk, even a lift, whatever. I'm going to do that for 1 hour, 5 days a week, and kind of see where that goes. Just start to move my body more.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even necessarily trying to eat better. I mean, a little bit, but I wasn't like focused in on like where my calories were at or anything like that as much. I knew I needed to get to that point, but I just said, let's just start working out. So that was kind of like, all right, I'm going to put this out on social media every day. This is going to be my way to hold myself accountable. Because people pay attention on social media, and I've got several guys that they chime in when they see me getting off the path, and I love it. I think it's great, especially now that I've been doing this for almost 2 years, or a year and a half.
Yeah.
But that was really the start, and I remember that first month I hit like the 20 days or 21 days or something like that of a 1-hour workout, and I was like, man, I'm starting to feel good. This is awesome. From there, I found jujitsu right in that time as well. And my buddy Ryan Mickler had been talking about jujitsu for years with me. He's a former high school wrestler like me.
Mm-hmm.
He was always an athlete as well. He's like, dude, you're a grappler. Like, this is you. Like, you've got to get out on the mats and just try it. Give it a shot. Like, not only is it going to be awesome for your physical health, but it's going to be even better for your mental, emotional, and spiritual health. And I was like, man, that sounds awesome. Like, I do need to give this a try. And luckily for me, we have a gym, an academy here right down the road, 5 minutes from my house. It wasn't there. It just came in, they just put that there like a couple years ago, and it hadn't been here because we had lived here in San Antonio before that, and it wasn't here. So I got lucky, and they put that gym there, And I was like, man, well, I don't have any excuses. It's literally 5 minutes from my house. I guess I better go try it.
Heck yeah.
And so I went to my first jujitsu class, and I just remember like I almost puked probably 3 times. Most guys will puke. I mean, I was not in good shape. I had maybe lost like 3 pounds over that first month, just by moving more. But I was way out of shape. I was a big boy. My face was as red as a cherry. I mean, it was crazy. And then when we did start doing some training, I think it was my second or third time, they let me actually start doing a little bit of grappling with some of the other members. I remember like going against a guy who was probably 150, 160.
Yeah.
And he tapped me out, choked me out like 5 times in a couple minutes. Like I was like, holy crap. I'm like, what's going on here? Like I'm a big, strong former college athlete, come on now, So from that point forward, I just said, you know what, I'm going to keep showing up. I'm going to keep doing this. And I'm just going to integrate myself into this group of people who are doing this and learn from them. Typically guys who and girls who are into the jujitsu academies. They're big on self-improvement as well. They're big on, leveling up in life. And I just knew I needed to be around those kind of people as well here locally in my community. So it was cool, man. The journey kind of took off from there. I started tracking every workout I did for the whole year last year. And it led to me, I think I ended up around 270 something days of 1 hour workouts. And a lot of those days I actually did a couple workouts a day because I got into this, I did 40 days of 75 hard actually during that time as well.
Yeah.
I ended up screwing up on that and had to end after day 40. But with 75 hard, of course, if anybody knows what that is, you have to do 2 workouts a day, 2 45-minute workouts a day with that. So
it sucks.
it does suck. But once you kind of get in that routine, you start to kind of get used to doing that many workouts. You know what I mean? And those workouts don't have to be like super hard. Like I think there's a lot to be said for just getting steps in every day. And that's one of the things that I hired a coach as well during that time to help me with my health journey, to help me get my food dialed in and just to kind of get me on a better path and have more accountability as well. So when I started working with, his name's Josiah, he said, we need to do the 3M system, man. We need to get the muscle, the movement, and need to get the meals down. So it can't just be the muscle and the movement. We've got to get those meals dialed in as well. So, I started getting my 10,000 steps a day. I started tracking my calories and my protein, getting everything dialed in with that. And then obviously I was still already on this workout journey. So I was doing jujitsu and lifting and getting some hikes in and some jogs in or whatever. And man, just bringing that all together and kind of letting that happen over the year and just staying consistent in that, over time, really just, it helped me go, I'll be honest. I went from 290 pounds down to about 215 pounds in about 8 months. So, it could have been quicker than that, honestly, because I was kind of towards the end, I was actually starting to work more on my lifting and trying to put on more muscle as well. So, which is kind of where my phase is now. I'm more on like a muscle building, recomp, plan where I'm really trying to, I've got goals. I want to get abs. I want to, I want to look really good with my shirt off, not for anybody else, but for myself and for my wife. So it's been a cool journey, man. And, I just want to say, like, if you're somebody who isn't feeling good, is tired all the time, is a little overweight or a lot overweight, like you just got to get started. You just got to get out there and take it day by day. One day at a time. And I think that's really what my message has been with how I put myself out there, especially like on social media. Like just take it day by day. It's almost like a +1 mentality. Like every day isn't going to be perfect, but if you put in some time and you put in the effort, it just going to start stacking up on each other. Those wins start stacking and that consistency and that discipline starts to build.
Exactly. So I got a question for you on this.
Yeah.
Would you say motivation or discipline is more important when it comes to starting out like this?
That's a great question, man. Obviously I think we're all motivated by certain things. And I would say part of my motivation is my why. So motivation, yes, it's important because what is our why? What is something that we want to live for? I look at my family, I look at my wife, I look at the people around me, I look at our veterans, I look at a lot of things like that. And ultimately, my family is my why, but I look around me and I've got so much to live for. I've got so much I should be thankful and grateful for. So, we think of this raw motivation, but if you boil it down to your why as your motivation, I think that gives you something to live for. That gives you something to push for in the moments when it's tough and you don't want to do the work and you don't want to put in the time. You're going to think, well, why am I doing this? What's the reason behind this? And for me, when I think about my family, I think about my kids, I think about my wife, I think, I want to be the best I can be for them. I want to be their example. So, yeah, there's something to be said for motivation for sure. And especially the way I look at motivation. But I think you have to build discipline. And that's where, like, when I was talking about, the kind of the snowball effect, you have to just go out and do the work. You just gotta say, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start. And, with my, with my coaching, I do a lot of health coaching now. We were talking about a little bit before we got on the call here. I coach for Josiah now.
Yeah.
And with his system, one of the things we always preach is the 10-minute rule. Like, just get out, move around for 10 minutes and see where it goes. And typically when you do that, that 10 minutes leads into easily a half hour, 45 minutes, an hour. And you're never going to not feel good after you get that time in outside or in a workout. You're always going to feel so much better and you're going to be thankful that you did it. So, that's just discipline. That's me saying, you know what, I'm going to put in 10 minutes and I'm going to see where it goes. And I do that every single day, and I think you got to have both. I think it does start with discipline, but you have to have that motivation and you have to have that why. And now, even just kind of going back on the motivation thing, like, I look out there at people who are, out on social media that I like to follow, first of all. Second of all, like, I've got mentors and friends that are pushing hard and getting after it. And, those people do motivate me. And I think now, especially that I have the discipline built up, that motivation is even better for me, because it's like, man, if they're doing it, I got to be doing it. So it's both. It's both, I think, I would say. And, but you got to think about it the right way.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, it's funny. I was having this conversation with my wife, and we were talking about, how easy it is just to kind of get off task, get off track. It's so easy to say, oh, I'll get it done tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it the next day. Or, there's always going to be an excuse. And
of course,
you have to just continue to be disciplined. And no matter how crappy you feel, you just, whatever it is, whatever you're trying to be disciplined on, whether it's going and working out, reading, doing something for work, you just got to do it.
Yeah, man. That's the thing. And I found that out. Like, I used to be an excuse maker big time. And I would find any little thing to, like, get myself out of doing the things I knew I was supposed to be doing. So once I changed that in my mindset, like, quit making the excuses, do the damn work. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And just get it done. Like, it's really not that hard. And I think it just boils down to just being somebody who's a man of your word as well. Like, there's a lot of things that I'll say in the past that I didn't follow through and do what I was supposed to do, whether it was my business, my relationships, whatever. And, I burned some bridges and I really hurt some people because of that. And I hurt myself even ultimately because of that. So that was a big shift for me, was like becoming that guy who's going to take action and be a man of my word, say what I do and do what I say. And I think that's, for most people, that's a huge game changer. That could springboard your life into a place you never knew you were going to go. A new business, a new relationship, new friendships, just achieving something that's great in life. And that's what I want to do. I want to achieve greatness in life. It's something we probably never actually get to, but having that journey and building on yourself through that journey is really what makes it special.
Oh, 1,000%, man. All right, y'all, we're going to take a quick break to hear a word from our sponsors. The HuntStand podcast is brought to you by Yamaha and its full line of class-defining, adventure-seeking motorcycles, ATVs, and side-by-side vehicles. Up next, Federal Premium. Go beyond what you ever thought possible with Federal Premium Terminal Ascent. bonded construction penetrates deep on close targets, while the patented slipstream polymer tip initiates expansion at velocities 200 feet per second lower than comparable designs. The bullet's long, sleek profile offers an extremely high ballistic coefficient, and its AccuChannel groove technology improves accuracy and minimizes drag. And finally, we've got Work Sharp Tools, the knife sharpening company. We just wanted to thank all of our partners of the HuntStand podcast, and we're going to get right back to this episode of the HuntStand podcast. I mean, obviously, without discipline, high caliber hunts wouldn't exist right now, right? I mean, you've had a lot. I mean, you've got your why with it, but you've also, I mean, you've got your own business. It's you. I mean, if you're not putting in the hours, you're not putting in the work. I mean, ultimately, whether it's high caliber hunts or whatever you're doing in life, you're going to fail if you're not putting in the time for it. And so that's where I kind of want to make this transition is let's talk about high caliber hunts and what it's taken for you to start this. And first and foremost, kind of tell the listeners, what is high caliber hunts?
Yeah, man. So high caliber hunts is really the idea behind it is, I grew up in central Minnesota where we had this, these hunting camps, where my uncles and my dad and my family, we'd get together every fall during rifle deer season, and we'd sit around a campfire, eat good food, tell good stories, and just enjoy each other's company. And sometimes that was the only time of the year that we would see some of our family. So I always enjoyed that and loved that, doing that. Now there's something to be said for being the do-it-yourself, hunter who's out there, solo hunting and stuff like that. That's become really popular. And I do a lot of that. I do a lot of that myself. I do a lot of the do-it-yourself. I do a lot of the public land stuff myself. But I knew that in my growth through the last few years that bringing the right people around me was really the key. Having the camaraderie, having that connection with solid people, solid men was really like the biggest key to my growth. I had people around me that were pushing me, that were inspiring me, that were holding me accountable, those kinds of things. So really, high caliber hunts became this idea of having this group of men or a group of people together who are on the same path of self-improvement, but also the old school hunting camp mentality. So we come together in a hunting camp for 2, 3, 4 days, whatever it is, get to spend time together and, enjoy each other's company, eat good food, and then have the challenge of the hunt. But also we get to have this opportunity for a deep connection, and the camaraderie that comes with that. So that's what a high caliber hunt is. It's a hunt or a trip where we come together with a group of like-minded people. Typically it's people who are on this path of self-improvement, whether it's with their marriage, their family, their kids, in their community as a community leader, or even in their business. Like a lot of these guys are entrepreneurs or guys starting new businesses and things like that. So these are the kind of people I want to be surrounded by. And these are the kind of people I want to speak into with my own journey and my own things that I've had struggles with. So I've come to this point in my life where I love to tell and talk about my downfalls and my screw ups, because that's who I am now. I am who I am because I've learned from those things, and I'm still learning from those things on a daily basis. Nobody's perfect. No man is going to be great without going through downfalls. So on this path to achieve more and be a high caliber person, I think we need to surround ourselves with more people that are on the same path as us. But then we also need to be very intent about being open about who we are and authentically where we've been. And I think that's just going to help everybody who gets together in a high caliber hunting camp grow and learn and build a deeper connection with each other. And then we come away with, maybe a new tribe of guys that we're connected with that are helping us continue to level up in life. So yeah, man, that's really the basis of it. That's really the idea of it. There's a lot more that's kind of going into it, a lot more ideas, a lot more ways I could go with it. And I've got a pretty deep business plan on how I want to do everything. But at the base level, that's what it is, man. It's a group hunt with high caliber, high achieving people getting together to help each other grow and learn and just make an impact on each other.
I love it, dude. So you've started this thing up in 2022. We're now pretty much halfway through the year. Dang near anyway.
Yeah.
What have you taken away from the few events you've done already? I think I've seen you've done like a couple of hog hunts and some turkey hunts. Like, what have you taken away doing some of these camps with these guys so far?
Man, that there's some awesome guys out there. First of all, I can't, like, I've had all these people start to come around me through this idea, and really it was just an idea at the start. And I've had some really cool people come alongside me and say, you know what, this is a really good idea, Collin. There's not really anybody doing anything similar to it, mixing both of these, these ideas of the self-improvement and a hunt.
Mm-hmm.
And just having these guys come alongside me and say, Collin, this is a great idea. You need to push hard on this. You need to push forward. You need to go all in. Having those people come alongside me has really shown me that, man, there's good people out there who want to see you succeed. There's guys out there who want to be part of what you're trying to build. And, and then getting those guys in the hunting camp, who obviously this is a for-profit business. They're paying good money, hard-earned money to come into a hunting camp and not only support my idea, but also support each other. So I think it's one big takeaway for me is there's a lot of good people out there who really want to succeed in life, who want to level up, who want to grow. And that I think this idea really has some cool legs because it's going to bring a lot of these guys together, and it's just going to help us all level up and grow in life.
Oh, absolutely, man. Have you, from the guys that you've met with in these camps, have you seen anybody since the camp just flourish, just kind of blow up almost, like just go like just a complete 180 from when they first stepped into camp?
Yeah, I wouldn't say necessarily like a complete 180 because I think it takes some time for us. We had 2 hog hunting camps that were full 3-day, 2-night camps.
Yeah.
And then I've had one I've had one that was a thermal hog hunt. My thermal hog hunts, we do like a 12-hour, it's an all-night hunt where we meet up for barbecue and networking before the hunt, and then we go all night. And there's a lot of opportunity for connection and camaraderie in that time as well. So I wouldn't necessarily say that, I'm seeing like guys like having like this huge change where it's like a complete 180 or 360. But I mean, I'm talking to these guys. I'm becoming friends with these guys already. And I can see a couple of them that are starting new businesses or want to start new businesses. They're putting the pieces together to do that. There's a couple guys who are trying to do better in their marriage. There's a couple guys that are just trying to do better in their daily routine and their exercise, their nutrition, those kinds of things. So yeah, I mean, it's already starting to bring guys together in this way where they're inspiring each other to push forward, to do better, but they're also starting to hold each other accountable as well. And they're trying to hold me accountable, which I love. I think that's the best part of it. So yeah, for sure. And I know that as we go along, as we keep pushing forward and building this business, that there's going to be a lot of case studies where I'm going to go back and I'm going to see, these different guys where they were at one point, and we're going to be a couple years down the road, and we're going to probably document their change and who they are now versus who they were then. And I know it's not necessarily directly correlated to my hunting camp, but I think it plays a big part in it to get you around the right people, the right connections you need, the right camaraderie, and just helps you get to that point where you're like, you know what, I can do this. If this guy can do it, if Collin can do it, seriously, I can do it. So, and that's the truth. If there's something that I'm doing out there, I promise you can do it too. So,
what do you think has been the hardest part of your journey? What do you think is the hardest part for any man, woman for that matter, like when they're on a journey like you've been through to being better? Doesn't matter what they're trying to be better at, but just in the journey of trying to be better, what in your eyes is the most difficult part about it?
Ooh, yeah, man, just getting up every day and making the choice to go do it. I don't think that necessarily gets easier. It's still a decision you have to make every day to go do that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have life. I've got a family. I've got kids. I've got a busy life with my kids. We've got all kinds of church things we're doing. We've got all kinds of extracurricular activities, those kinds of things. So, just with how busy life is, and really, it goes even deeper than that. If we look at how the world portrays how we should live our life. That's probably one of the toughest parts, because, you know, the media and the marketing of our world wants us to be a certain way, and wants us to push us a certain way and control us and manipulate us to think that their way is the right way. So I would say that it really boils down to that. Like, those are the tough areas, is just getting up every day to just put in the work and put in the time and make the decision, but then also trying to buck the system a little bit, buck our world, and say, you know what, I'm not going to be the same guy that everybody else is. I want to be different. I don't mind being the weird guy, the guy who homeschools his kids with his wife, the guy who, you know, uses his camper as his office, the guy who, you know, sells his home so he can, you know, make some money to get debt free, and then lives in a double wide trailer, a 2-bedroom trailer house for a couple of years. You know what I mean? Those kinds of things. Yeah. So I think the world tells us we have to have these nice cars, this lavish lifestyle, that we have to have this perfect routine. But it really boils down to just, you know, live your life, work hard, be an asset, put in the time, put in the effort, and do that on a consistent basis. And, you know, your life is just going to improve and grow, and you're going to find out who you really are, and what your journey is supposed to be.
Yeah. Not becoming a victim to the system.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Not becoming a victim. I know people now, you know, there's other people I know that they get trapped in this comfort, this, you know, I'll quote it after the book. They get in this comfort crisis, you know, they become comfortable and they're okay with being satisfactory. And then they wake up one day and they realize, what have I been doing with my life? I hate what I do. And I
could tell you that was me for a long time. You know, and I got comfortable and just into what my routine was, which wasn't really a routine. It was just kind of existing, really. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I look back now and I'm like, man, just existing? Like, come on. Like, there's so much more to this world. Like, that, there was no happiness. There was no gratefulness in my life in that time. And now I'm so grateful. Now I definitely have a lot of happiness in my life. I'm not perfect. My life isn't perfect. My relationships aren't perfect, but, you know, things are improving every day. Things are getting better every day. And it's because I'm actually putting myself in more uncomfortable positions.
Yeah.
And I would say for anybody who is in this comfortable position, like, you might want to think about trying to be uncomfortable and find ways to be uncomfortable. You know, if you're somebody who, you know, doesn't like to be around people or scared to talk to people, like, go put yourself in a room with people and force yourself to talk to them. Go on a high caliber hunt where you're around guys you've never met before, so you can meet them, learn from them, grow, and become a better version of yourself. Those kinds of things I think we need to do more of. And I look back at, like, my grandparents and even times before that, like, you read about it, you hear about it, like, they lived an uncomfortable life, but that's what made them strong in not just strength wise, but mentally, emotionally, in those ways. You know, they went through the grind of life and just, you know, put themselves in those situations. And sometimes it wasn't even that they wanted to be in that situation. They just had to be in that situation. So it built up their strength in a lot of areas, and it helped them, you know, actually have a lot of success in life.
Absolutely. You know, it's funny you're saying this, because I feel like one of the things I tell people that they need to do, that the ones that are shy, they don't like to talk to people, they, you know, they're very introverted.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people like that, they need to go be a server. They need to go be a waiter or a waitress, you know.
Yep.
That was probably one of the biggest things that helped me when I was in college. You know, I was pretty quiet, reserved, shy guy, didn't like to go up to people I didn't know. And if I wanted to make money, I had to do that. I had to go up to random people I didn't know, complete strangers, and take their order from them and make sure they had a good experience. And that helped me break out of a shell.
Yeah, I mean, it's so crucial, Will, to get yourself in uncomfortable positions, because that's how you grow. I mean, I can tell you right now, like, you know, in my marketing business, I wasn't doing bad. I was pretty comfortable. You know, I had a couple of good clients who, you know, were getting the bills paid. It helped me get debt free. You know, we were obviously, after COVID, we're living where we are now because, you know, it's just a tough situation out there in the housing market. But we were comfortable. Things were good. I honestly didn't have to go on this weight loss journey if I didn't want to. I didn't have to start a new business if I didn't want to. I've been a pretty successful entrepreneur for, up to that point, 13, 14 years. So I said, you know what? I don't want to just be comfortable. I don't want to just be the natural man, the natural guy who just lives life and exists. Like, let's push beyond this. Let's take it to the next level. And now because of that, like, every day is a grind. It's tough, starting a new business, doing some online coaching, doing these workouts, eating right, all the different goals and things I want to achieve. It's a grind. It's not easy. It's hard, but every day I get stronger mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. I'm leading my family better. I'm getting around people who I want to be around and that want to be around me, that are going to help me grow in life. My marriage is growing and getting better. It's not perfect, but it's getting better.
Yeah.
If there's just something to be said, man, you got to put yourself in these uncomfortable positions, because what that's going to do is that's going to help you grow in life. It's going to help you level up in life. It's going to help you, buck the complacency that happens in life, and it's going to help you go down this journey of improvement and just consistency.
When did you recognize that you were stuck in this comfort crisis? Like, what was kind of the wake up moment, the aha moment? When did Collin wake up?
Yeah. In 2020, I was actually, I hate that we had that happen, because it was a crazy time for everybody, and there was a lot of not so great things that were happening around us.
Mm-hmm.
But that was actually a reset for me, because I had a lot of this time with my family, in the house together. My wife was pregnant with our third child. So we were talking about a lot of different things, thinking about a lot of different things, thinking about our future. My wife and I had actually went through some counseling, some marriage counseling before that happened, before 2020 happened. So I was already starting to think about, man, I really need to grow in my life. I need to level up for my family, for the people around me. And then my entrepreneurial side started to kick in, where I was like, I want to start another business. I want to do something that's not just about me.
Yeah.
A lot of my business in the past have been, who can I put myself around to make more money and to look successful? And my mindset changed to, you know what? I want to leave a legacy for my family, and I want to make an impact on others.
Yep.
So really the wake up call was in 2020. And then towards the end of 2020, obviously I started to, I would catch myself in the mirror, like look at myself like, man, I'm out of shape. I'm not looking good. I'm not feeling good. I need to level up. I've got my third child on the way. It's time to take my life to the next level. And I also want to mention, I've got some really good guys around me that were speaking into my life. And one of them is my buddy, Ryan Mickler. Like he said, he texted me several times, or had conversations with me a few times. Like, man, you just need to go all in. You need to go all in on your business. You need to go all in on your family. You're capable of so much more than you're putting out there. Like, you just need to do the work and get after it. And he had went through his own self improvement journey in his life, and I saw the success he had through that. And I was like, you know what? I don't need to be average. I can achieve greatness. I can be a high caliber man and really help inspire others and leave a really special legacy to my family and the people around me. So that was my aha kind of wake up moment. It just going through some self-reflection. I think we all need to self-reflect at some point and say, you know what, where do I really want to go in life, and what's my why?
I think that's a big part of it. You just got to figure out what the why is, man. You got to figure it out. But, man, before we go, last thing I want to ask you, what is your single piece of advice, best piece of advice to give to that listener right now that's stuck in that comfort crisis?
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one, man. I would say take it day by day. Just get up in the morning and just say, you know what? I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful to have an opportunity to live this life, to be surrounded by good people. Maybe you're not surrounded by good people, but you can be surrounded by good people if you want to be. So start to surround yourself with good people, find good people to be around, to spend time with, that are going to encourage you and push you to be better. And just say, you know what, every day is a new day to get better. I'm going to do something to get out of my comfort zone, to get better, to improve, to grow. And, down the line, a couple months down the line, a couple days down the line, whatever, a couple weeks, you're going to start to see some change in your life, and you're going to be like, you know what, I want to keep doing this. I want to keep pushing forward. And you're going to do that. And it's because it's going to become part of who you are and what your lifestyle is all about.
Love it, man. Real quick, where can everybody find you on social media, and where can they find High Caliber Hunts?
Yeah, best place for me is Instagram. I love to connect with people on that platform. So you can find me at Collin, COLLIN _Cottrell, COTTRELL. Send me a message there. I love to connect with new people. So if you just want to connect, say, hey, drop me a message. I respond back to people every day that I've never met in person, that just, hear me on a podcast or whatever. So I love that. You can also find everything I'm doing with High Caliber Hunts on Instagram. And then my website is highcaliberhunts.com. And love to meet anybody out there who heard this podcast and made an impact on their life. And I'd love to be a help for you in some way to get you on your own journey.
Sweet, man. Love it. Well, Collin, man, really appreciate you hopping on the podcast today.
Thanks, Will. I appreciate it too, man. I look forward to seeing you again soon. And I hope everybody has an awesome day.
All right, y'all. There you have it. Another end to another great HuntStand podcast episode. We just want to thank Collin for hopping on to talk about high caliber hunts and go down a few other rabbit holes as well to maybe help you wake up just a little bit and maybe make a shift in your life and do something different and change and get better. But nonetheless, we just want to thank Collin for hopping on the HuntStand podcast today. Hopefully you were able to take some information from this podcast, apply it to your life, do better, get better, and achieve your dreams and go after things in life. And so we just want to thank Collin again. We hope you're able to take something from this, and we will see you on the next one.